Welcome back from the break. This is Books and Blogs. I'm Catherine Mwangi. This is the favorite part of this show because we get to explore life in books. And this morning, I am so honored to have Pastor Fred Geke join us on Books and Blogs. Karibu sana. Like we have looked for you for a while, and finally we find you.
I thank God for that.
And so far, out of all the guests we've had, you're the one author who has had this many books already authored from a very young age. Very inspiring story. I want to know, when did you first do your first book?
I wrote my first book when I was, okay, let's just call it a book, but my first attempt at a book was when I was 14 years old.
14?
Yes, I was in Form 1, and I sent it to a publisher, but they sent it back, and I said, well, good effort, but it's not good enough. And I found that manuscript the other day in my sister's file, so it's actually there.
It's there?
But I'm afraid to read it.
Why? What do you think you'll find there?
If I remember well, and it's not something I'd like to be associated with at this time.
But it still is your story.
And that's why I'm keeping it, but I will not read it.
You don't want to share that story with the rest of the world.
No. I just wanted to make a name for myself.
Right.
So I was trying to pattern it against some books that I thought were well received at that time.
Yeah.
And their subject wasn't exactly good. And so I wanted to be part of that show.
Yeah.
So, which I wouldn't want to be part of right now.
You're already part of it now, in a very big way.
Yeah, but in a different direction.
Yeah.
It was mostly what I wrote about that I don't want to be associated with at this point in my life.
The content.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
Tell me, your journey to this point is very unique.
Yes, it is.
You didn't just wake up and start writing. There's a story behind this story. Would you like to share that with us?
As I said, you know, the first time I wrote a book, there were two reasons why I wanted to write the book. The first one was that I was a voracious reader. And when you read books, you are going to want to write one yourself. And one thing that really made me want to be an author, there was a book called The African Child. And it had a picture of a young man holding a butterfly, a young man that was about my age at that time. And I looked at the cover of that book, and I said, I want to be an author one day. And so out of that, I just said, I want to have a book that people can take home and read the way I've been reading other people's books. But the other reason why I wanted to write at that time was I started life with a terrible problem of low self-esteem. And I was trying to gather around myself anything that I could do to make myself visible, to make myself accepted. So my getting into writing initially was, first of all, to express myself like the people whose books I was reading had expressed themselves. But secondly, I wanted to make myself visible.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you went through, obviously, a dry patch. First of all, let's talk a bit about your profile.
Yes.
You were the deputy headmaster at Alliance.
Yes, in the 80s.
Deputy principal in the 80s. Then you left that.
Yes.
You became principal at Kikuyu Day School,
yes.
high school.
Yes.
And then you left that.
Yes.
And then what?
Well, I went nowhere because maybe I need to connect the dots between Alliance High School and Kikuyu Day. As I said, I started my life with a serious problem of low self-esteem. And when I went to Alliance High School, that was the first time I actually became visible, because I came out of college in '84, and by '87 I was deputy headmaster at Alliance High School, and that was really strange.
At a very young age.
Young age. I was 26 years old at the time, and here I am now visible and thinking my problems are gone. But what I didn't realize was that, you know, these outward achievements were not touching where the problem really was. The problem was within myself, and I was trying to apply outside remedies which were not working. So at the end of it, now I said, okay, I had hoped that the only way I could turn it around and become somebody was by performance. Now I am performing, I am doing well, and I'm not changing, I'm not feeling loved, I'm not feeling noticed or accepted. Now, if performance cannot get me there and it's all I have, then I didn't have another card to play, then I became suicidal. And I did attempt once, But before the second, there was some kind of divine intervention. So at the time I'm leaving Alliance High School to go to Kikuyu Day, I am now setting my foot on a new direction. In between there, I found Christ. So as I'm going to Kikuyu Day, I'm beginning to walk with Christ. But then I felt a strong call of God on my life to go into Christian ministry. So I only worked as a headmaster. We were headmaster those days for 1 year. Then I quit to go into Christian ministry. But I thought I would quit and go straight. But God had a different plan for me. And he needed the former me to die. So for 6 years, I had no job. I had nothing that I really did except serve in my church in whatever opportunity that was there.
Yeah.
So I lost the reputation I had built up as a teacher, which was really good. I was an excellent teacher
Yeah.
and an excellent administrator. And I lost all that.
Yeah.
In my family, I was the man that looked like he had his life together. And I lost that. I just became like everyone else that was confused in our family until 1999, now when my church called me to be a pastor. And the phase of my life that I'm living now began at that time.
At that time.
Yeah, the 6 years were a dying time. Now that was to me like a kind of resurrection.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
learning
you were
to walk.
really committed to, you were committed to dying because you had all these offers that came your way, but you said no to them.
You see, for me, I looked at everything in terms of, will it make me something? Not so much to myself, but in the eyes of people, because that's the approval I was looking for. And that was the cry of my heart at that time. I didn't know how to articulate it. I didn't know how to respond to it. So I just kept throwing whatever I had at it. Yeah.
Do you think that cry has been pacified now?
It has. It has, because one of the greatest joys in life, Catherine, is to be yourself, to find yourself, and to love yourself. You don't have to be the best in other people's eyes, because, you see, one of the things I found out in the course of that journey is that the people whose acclaim rather, that I was looking for, were having the same problem. You see, the people that I would look up to and say, if that one loved me, if that one said I'm a good man, then I'll feel good.
Yeah.
But in time I came to find that every person has their own issues. Every person has something they're running away from and something they're running towards. And so you're trying to get help from people that need help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but today, you see, one of the things that happens when you find yourself and love yourself is that you also love other people. You no longer see them as competitors for this small space of acceptance, but you appreciate other people as well.
Yeah.
So for me, like now, I'm an author, and I have no problem whatsoever, helping other people bring out their books without even mentioning that I was there, because I don't think, personally, I'll be honest with you, I don't think anybody can write the way I do. I'm not, there are maybe better writers, and there are, but the key thing here is nobody can write the way I do.
Yeah.
Because you've got to be me to be able to put words together the way that I do.
That you do,
Nobody
yes.
can tell a story the way I tell. Not because it's the best way of telling a story, but because of that distinctness.
Yes.
So I found out that the thing about me is that I am distinct. And so my passion in life is to help other people find that distinctness of their life, that Pastor Fred doesn't have to approve of you.
Yeah.
You need to find that thing that God has made you to be and who you are.
Yeah.
And when you find it, it doesn't have to be big, it just has to be real, and that's what counts.
And then you realize you are enough as you are.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Let's talk about your books, which, by the way, for everyone watching,
Yes.
this is Pastor Fred's latest book, Inspired for Life.
Yes.
Then we have your first book, Dare to Dream Again.
Yes. Which
Then-
was followed by
Which was followed
Best
by
Foot Forward.
Best Foot Forward. I'm
Which details now my journey
Yes.
in that trouble with self-esteem. I document it in that book.
Best Foot
Yeah,
Forward.
and the things that I learned and the things that helped me.
Okay.
Yes.
Then you have Big Dreams for Ordinary People.
Yes.
you stand a chance to win one of these 4 books.
Yes.
Just keep watching. We'll let you know how.
Yes.
But Pastor Fred, you need to let us know. In your books, the word dreams comes up a lot.
Yes.
What motivates that?
Uh, eh, like I said, you know, I had a big problem with low self-esteem. And esteem has something to do with somebody wanting to become something. And when somebody wants to become something, they have a picture of what they would want to become. But mostly, people want to become something they have seen somewhere.
Yes.
So they saw somebody, you know, who was performing a song on TV and everybody was clapping. And they
You
say, I would
want
like somebody to clap for me like
Yes.
that. But then there is the dream that is from within, which is the true dream because it has something to do with who you are, who God has made you, and what He has equipped you to do with what He has made you. So the reason why dreams are always somewhere in what I talk, you know, what I write about is I'm just trying to take people back to themselves and say what you're looking outside there is here.
Yeah.
What is outside there is probably what might help you bring out what is in here. Yeah, so that is why I write books that direct people more to themselves.
Yeah.
Now, if probably I can
Yeah, sure.
I can just say a few things. This is
Yeah.
Dare to Dream Again, which was my first serious book. I had other books before this, but this was my first published book. And this book was born out of a time when I thought I was going through a crisis in my life. I had a minor heart attack, and so I was diagnosed with angina. And so I didn't know when the next heart attack was going to come and whether I would survive it. So I said, since all my life I had said I would write a book, I'm going to write one so that in case I die, I
There'll be
will
a
leave a
book.
manuscript
Yes.
behind. So I wrote this book in 14 days, as I mentioned to you earlier. And this book is about, you know, when you fail. I had started life very strongly, my career as a teacher, going to Alliance High School. And I wasn't posted by the TSC to Alliance High School. Actually, Alliance High School came to look for me in college. And I was interviewed while I was still in college because
Right.
I had been, somebody had mentioned me to the then headmaster of Alliance High School. So he asked for me, interviewed me. And then after I finished college, I was posted to another school. But he came looking for me there and brought me to Alliance High School.
Right.
Then he left immediately after that. Another one came in. And the one who came in really saw my potential. And in 2 years' time of teaching, he made me
The deputy.
the deputy.
Yeah.
And then, so there you are starting life on a very strong note. Then 4 years later, 5 years later, 6 years later, you are now dipping. Now I went completely to nothing. And everybody who remembered me at Alliance High School said, what has happened to that young man? He was doing so well. We hear he's got religion. You know, he's all confused, and we really had hopes on him. So this now documents. Now, when you go that far down in your life, you've got 2 ways. You can remain there and die and be buried, or you can rise up.
Start rising
And that
up.
is why down here on the strap here it says, if your dream has died, don't bury it. It can live again. Dreams do die, but we shouldn't bury them.
Yeah.
Because the dreams can live again. They shouldn't be buried. So that was why this came up.
Yeah.
Then I looked back at my own life and said, if I had read this book when I was at Alliance High School, I would have loved it, but it wouldn't have helped me because I had problems within. So that's when I wrote Best Foot Forward. And I said, a man can dream as much as he wants to dream. But if he has got issues as to what he thinks about himself and who he believes he is, then he can have as big a dream as he wants to, but it will not come to pass. So I said, we need to deal with the person himself.
Right.
So Best Foot Forward documents. I go to the day I think my issues began and how they manifested. Actually, that's the first chapter of this book. It
The
says,
root.
flat on my back. The thing that instigated and caused me to realize that I felt really bad about myself. So now, a person has a dream.
Yes.
A person sorts out his issues,
Yes.
and now he's ready to dream.
Yes.
But that person does not have anyone to help him. You know, there are people who want to dream, but they're not sharp like other people. There are people who want to dream, but they don't have money like other people.
Yes.
There are people who want to dream, but they don't have the kind of job that gives them the kind of money that would help them bring that
Fulfill
dream.
that dream, yes.
So do people that are not particularly gifted or endowed, are they excluded from dreaming? So I wrote Big Dreams for Ordinary People, that I myself, who has no advantage, all I have is me,
Yes.
and the
my
capability and my dream. What do I do?
Yeah.
So this book is to fire people to realize that wherever you are, whatever life has thrown at you, there is a dream that fits exactly that you can rise up and dream. Then my latest book is really an exciting book, Inspired for Life. Now this book, I didn't write it initially as a book. These are thoughts I put together. As I went out each day, whatever I experienced, I put that together.
Okay.
Initially, it was a blog. Then people loved that blog so much, and they wanted that in one place. Now, the inspiration behind Inspired for Life is this. Now, the title itself is ambiguous, and I just made it deliberately ambiguous.
Okay.
Now, some people understand that if they read this book, they will be inspired for the rest of their life. Now, some people understand it as inspired to facilitate life.
Yes.
Now, both of them are true. But here's the focus of this book. I wanted to show people that the things that you need to inspire, you know, most people say that I need to go to a good meeting. I need to go listen to a good speaker. I need to read a good book, and that's good. But the real inspiration, when you start capturing inspiration from your own life, the things that happen to you, good or bad, you pay attention to them and you learn the lessons from not the things that are happening to other people's lives, but to your own life.
Right.
The 48 thoughts I share here are all very ordinary things that happened to me. In another person's life, they would have just passed.
Right.
Now, like for example, let me just
Yes, please.
give you an example.
Yes.
The first chapter here is called Treasure in the Wilderness. And in this chapter, I tell the story of a man that used to live with us. My father brought him when I was 4 years old, and he lived with us and left when I was 38 years old. Now, basically, we grew up around him.
Yeah.
Now, this man loved to tell a story. And the way he did it is, if I went somewhere and I saw something and I came and told it to him, he would create something out of it. I mean, you just tell him something you heard somebody say, he makes a story out of it, he adds other facts which were not there, and he makes it a story, and we laugh. And because of this person, I kept saying, I want to be able to tell a story
Like that.
Like that. Just something I observed, and make a story out of it. Now, this man could not write. I used to write his letters for him. He could not read. He could read very haltingly. Yet he inspired me to become the writer
That you are now.
that I am. So you see, what I'm trying to say here is that the things in life that can really inspire you are happening in your own life right now. You see, you are at work right now, and you're just doing a job. Now, you can sit there and do your job, or you can sit there and listen to every person who sits here. And you go home with that experience, and you realize, really, you know, I was at that place today to see what I saw, that it can ignite this in my life. So, Inspired for Life, really, if you go through all the 48 things that I say here, you are converted to start paying attention to little things.
Be more keen.
Just things you overhear on the road. They could be the very thing that will turn your life around.
That is powerful. I want to go back to this book slightly.
Big Dreams
Yes.
for Ordinary People.
Yes, where you say you have a dream, but you don't have the means, or someone told your hand, but it's there. So you've dealt with your issues. You're at a good place. You're starting to look internally. Now you have a dream. Now, then what?
Now, what I was saying is this. For most people, you know, they go to listen to somebody like Stephen Covey, for example, and you listen to all these things they say. If you're a Christian, you listen to Austin or somebody
Joel
like
Austin.
that, and you listen, and you just say, man, I'm going to write a book like the one Joel Austin wrote. Now, let me tell you this. You do not have what Joel Osteen has. You don't have a father who spent 40 years building up a church for you to come in and just ignite it. You see what I mean? But the thing here is, what I'm talking about here in the book is this. For you, there is a dream for you. You see, that's what we're trying to help you here. The dream that you are looking at, is that your dream or another person's dream?
Yes.
The reason why you are disqualified from some things is because they are other people's dreams. So when you are an ordinary person, you have a big dream that is for an ordinary person. So the whole point here in this book is to give examples here and there. I challenge you here and there to start listening to yourself. And one of the things that I do in my books is to use myself as the example.
Yes.
So I use my failures, I use my struggles, I use the things that I try to do here and there. So big dreams for ordinary people is this. An ordinary person does not have to dream an ordinary dream. It starts as an ordinary because you don't have all those other things.
Yeah.
But how big it can grow has nothing to do with whether you're big or small. A dream will attract what will carry it. For example, I tried for 30 years between my first book, my first attempt, and my first published book is 30 years. 1974, my first attempt. 2004, my first publisher's contract.
30
Now,
years.
yes. Now, all these 30 years, I am looking for a publisher, trying to persuade publishers. I can't persuade one. But 2004, it is the publisher who looks for me. Because he saw something I had done. And he said, I must publish this man. So all I'm trying to say here is I had my dream. But I wanted to dream other people's dreams, but I didn't have their capacity. I didn't have their endowment. I didn't have their advantage.
Yeah.
But when I did what I know how to do, which is to sit down and tell a story well, somebody read the story, and my dream attracted what it needed.
Yes.
It attracted, okay, for example, I don't know where you heard about from me. I didn't ask to be here. But here I am, because now it is my small dream that is creating
this
opportunities for itself, and it keeps going.
My goodness, I mean, we need to have you here again because I think a lot of people need to keep hearing it.
Yes.
We especially this generation, the thing has become, that person is doing this, so I also have to do this.
Yes.
That person has released this new music video, so I also have to do my music video like that.
Yeah, because basically your motivation is he's better than me. So to be good, I really need to go and be like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yet your blueprint is waiting for you.
That is suicidal. Let me tell you the truth. That is suicidal. You see, like now, what you do, you can look at other girls in the studio, and you feel bad about yourself, or you feel good about yourself. Both of them are lies. The key thing here is, when I sit down, what do I want to bring out in people? And what do I want to receive from people? And you walk out of the set and you're like, that's what I want to do every day.
Yeah.
That's how I want to go.
Yeah.
Some people may not think that is really good, but for me, that is what draws everything that is within me and expresses it. And I tell you, when you come to that place, Catherine, when the person next to you does not intimidate you, and when you have no desire to intimidate people, but you have a desire to lift people up. For example, you see, for me, when I was fighting with self-esteem, I always believe that if I can make the next person come lower,
put them down,
then I look really good out there. But then I came to find out that when you are okay with yourself, your motivation when you're dealing with people is to lift them up. And anytime you lift somebody higher than yourself, actually you feel more successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
I don't even know what to say. We've run out of time, but we have to have you here again.
God helping us.
We have to have you here again. And listen, 4 books to give away today, the most we've ever given out on Books and Blogs. And this is not just any book. Pastor Fred has not written outside a vacuum. This is his story, his experiences, step by step by step. They're valuable books. Dare to Dream Again. Big Dreams for Ordinary People. Inspired for Life. This is his latest book. And Best Foot Forward. if you want a copy, any copy of this book, so you just have to tell me, what have you learned today from Pastor Fred Geke? That's all. Hashtag KTN Life and Style. Facebook, KTN Life and Style. Instagram, KTN Life_style. Same to Twitter, same address. So just let me know, what have you learned today from Pastor Fred Geke that has inspired you and motivated you to be a better person? We take a short break now. We'll be right back. Thank you so very much.
God bless you.
Amen.